What is up, Star Wars fans, and welcome back to my channel. It has come to that time of the year where we annually, it seems like at this point, rank the Star Wars films, and today I will be doing it not as a, oh, this is the official Star Wars ranking of the best made films and the worst made films. No, I'm doing this from my least favorite to my most favorite, which means this is a completely personal list. Now, I know some people, as always, are going to disagree with me, but one of the things I find interesting about Star Wars is that everyone's opinion seems to vary from movie to movie. Some people love the prequels, some people hate them, some people are sequelists. It just comes down to, if you are a Star Wars fan, then you are going to enjoy the majority of the films. I'm a Star Wars fan. I love most of the films, and I do appreciate what they have done more recently with their movies. The beauty about doing a video like this is not me giving you my ranking, it's me seeing your ranking in the comments section below. I love seeing how your rankings vary to my rankings, so please comment your thoughts. Which ones do you hate? Which ones do you love? Which ones are the ones that you think you have a different opinion of everybody else? Because I always find that the most interesting. And here's the thing, guys, I can't hold back. I have to be completely 100% transparent with you and honest, and that's what I'm going to do today. I love Star Wars. Even the movies that I seem not to like as much as the others, I still love talking about them. So let's get into this. My top 11 Star Wars films, starting with my least favorite.
I don't like sand.
Now, this one was theatrically released, so I do have to put it on this list, and that is the animated Clone Wars movie. This movie just did not do it for me, and I know it did for some people, and maybe kids like it more than adults do because it is kind of oriented towards kids. It just didn't give me everything that I wanted with that storyline because I thought this could be cool. Giving Anakin a little bit more depth when it comes to the prequels is an interesting concept, and it did give him some things, and I do like elements and aspects of this story. I just think the movie as a whole didn't really work, and it doesn't hold up compared to even my other least favorite Star Wars movies.
I don't like sand.
Next up is my least favorite live-action film, and that is Attack of the Clones. Now, some people like this film, and I completely get that because there are good things in it, but it just comes down to I can't get past the horrible dialogue and, frankly, the bad directing. I know, shoot me, I said it. It's just not good, and every time I watch it, I'm like, okay, that doesn't work, that's cheesy, that's lame, why is this there, why does it veer off into this weird storyline? The whole Anakin sand thing.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating.
Yeah, that just kind of bothers me. I've said it before in my other list, so I don't need to keep hitting it on the head, but Attack of the Clones, it just...
I don't like sand.
Now, Phantom Menace, there are at least things in here that make up for the bad parts. You have the Darth Maul epic fight at the end with Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. I will even search that on YouTube sometimes and just sit there and watch it like, man, why couldn't the whole movie be like this? Throw in Jar Jar and some of those random CGI characters that just do not work and they do not hold up and they're just frankly not good in my opinion. I don't like them and they just add to an already really convoluted and frankly a bit boring of a film. The pod race is a spectacle when it comes to special effects at the time. It was phenomenal the way that it was shot and filmed and done when it comes to CGI, and like I said, the battle is good, but other than that, there are just, it's not a lot's going to redeem this movie.
I don't like sand.
Okay, guys, I just want you to know this. From here on out, I like all of the movies left on this list. I either like them or love them, but with a movie this low, you know I'm not going to absolutely love it, and that's the most recent Star Wars film that's Solo: A Star Wars Story. Like I said, it looks bad being this low, but really, you look at how much I personally love Star Wars, it's really not that bad of a thing. If you watch my review, you know that I enjoyed this movie. I had a good time in the theater. I just think the story and the plot aren't as strong as the characters and the actors. I liked Alden in this role. He grew on me throughout the film. His chemistry with Chewie was great. There are elements of this film that really work, but then there are elements that kind of drag it down and make it a Star Wars movie that I don't think was really necessary. But I will say I am kind of looking forward to seeing that cast again and seeing what else he can do as Han Solo.
I don't like sand.
Next up is Revenge of the Sith. I think George Lucas really did a great thing here. He took what people did not like about the other two films and for the most part removed it. Now, there are problems with this movie for sure when it comes to the way some characters act and some of the lines of dialogue, but overall, he kept that epic tone that we needed to finish out this trilogy and gave us a film that I do believe was a great finale in terms of what the other two prequels gave us in terms of the story. I love Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, and even Anakin and hones in and does a better job in this film. Their chemistry is great, and when they turn on each other at the end, you feel the emotion and the depth, and the story that they've been building up, even though they didn't do it in the best way, I do believe it paid off as a film, and this is one of my best memories as a young boy in the theater watching the finale to this trilogy, and it was just, it was an awesome moment. I got to see it with my friend Devin. Hi, Devin. How you doing? Hope you're watching. You're not.
I don't like sand.
Here we go, controversy. Return of the Jedi is next up on my list, and a lot of people are going to have this a lot higher. I do believe there are issues with this film, such as the Ewoks. Not a big fan of that entire sequence of events, and there are just things in here, I think, that are a little bit more prequel-ish than the other two films. And you know, funny story, when this movie first came out, it wasn't really embraced by critics. They didn't love the film. It wasn't until a little bit later when people started to come around and realize that it was a really good finale to this trilogy that we know and love. Now, do I think it measures up to the first two? No, I don't. But do I think there are elements in there and things that people just absolutely cannot look past as some of the most epic moments in Star Wars? Absolutely. There are phenomenal moments in this film. I just think it's funny to think about what if the internet was a thing when Return of the Jedi came out and people looked at Ewoks the same way they look at like elements of The Last Jedi, and they completely turned on the movie and started striking against it. And it's fun to think about, isn't it? In all seriousness, guys, I do think Return of the Jedi is a really good movie. It's a great finale to an awesome trilogy. There are definitely problems in there, things that just maybe don't hold up as well as other elements, but overall, I like the film a lot.
I don't like sand.
Here we go. It is The Last Jedi, the most controversial topic anyone's ever talked about in a video ever. I will say this, I'm one of the people that really enjoyed a lot of things about The Last Jedi. Now, I will admit, the more I watch it, I've watched it only 3 times now. Isn't that amazing? The second time I watched it, I liked it about the same as the first time, but the third time I watched it, I gave it about a 3-month hiatus because all of the backlash and just the stuff surrounding it was just souring my experience of the film, so I just said, you know what, I'm going to give it some time. If you go on my Letterboxd page, you'll find my recent review of this, but there are definitely elements in there that do not work. Certain scenes, such as the casino scene, Rose's storyline, I'm not a big fan of, but there are also elements in there that I absolutely love. What they do with Luke at the end, Yoda popping up, all of the surprises, just the beautiful moments. It's beautiful filmmaking. It's probably the artsiest Star Wars film we've ever gotten, which is probably why I personally like the movie, but it is a movie that kind of takes away, but it is a movie that does a lot of things different, and it doesn't really feel as much like Star Wars as all of these other movies, and that is going to turn some people away. It's something that I didn't like as much on my third viewing, and that's honestly why it's so low on this list. I think it's a beautifully made film, but as a Star Wars movie, it's kind of dropped down a little bit, but I will always be completely honest with you guys and tell you that I do enjoy The Last Jedi. Not as much as I did when I first watched it, but I do enjoy it. Bring it on!
I don't like sand.
Next up is a movie that just continues to do the opposite of what The Last Jedi did, and it's one that grows on me. I don't think it's as well structured as The Last Jedi, but as a Star Wars movie with Star Wars moments, a movie that every single time I watch it, I find a few more things in there that I love. It has beautiful cinematography, the shot selection is awesome, and I just love a lot of elements of this movie, and that is Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This thing just has a lot to like. It's interesting because the first time I watched it, I was like, I really like this. The second time I watched it, I'm like, I like it, but I don't know if I love it. And then the third time, I realized that I love this movie. It's weird how rewatching films just changes your experience, but I've watched it 3 times since then, and I feel the same about it every time. I think Rogue One has a lot in it to love. For me, it has that rewatchability factor. Now, it's all kind of building up to that moment at the end. There are some dull moments and some parts that kind of slow down, but overall, I think there are great moments, and then you get the Darth Vader thing at the end, and that's just...
I don't like sand.
Next up is Star Wars: The Force Awakens, and this is obviously my favorite movie of the new films, but I do think The Force Awakens just has so many special moments, and sure, it's a retread of what Disney gave us with A New Hope, and there are elements of Return of the Jedi. Yeah, I get that, but they really embraced what they were going for. J.J. Abrams knew he was going to take certain topics and do them over, maybe bigger. He's trying to do it better. Now, he doesn't necessarily do it better than A New Hope, in my opinion, but he does some things here that are truly magical. The characters aren't the same, though. We get different characters here. We get Rey and Finn and Poe and just things that I just love, and I find this to be the most important thing about this movie. It's just so rewatchable to me. There's some kind of magic in there that the other ones that have come out since just haven't quite captured. I do think they're really good, but The Force Awakens just had something about it. And every time I watch it, I feel it. It's heartfelt. It's genuine. It's just a love letter to Star Wars. And I am personally really excited to see JJ return because I think he's going to do some things different, yet give us those Star Wars moments that we know and love.
I don't like sand.
Is it Empire? Is it A New Hope? Which one is it? It is A New Hope at number 2, and this is the one that started it all. And I kind of forget how good this movie is, and then I go back and watch it because I always have Empire way up here, like this movie is incredible, it's in my top 5 films of all time, and then A New Hope's just hanging out, and I kind of forget the magic, but then I go back and I rewatch, and I see what George Lucas did, and not just George Lucas. There were actually some issues going on when George Lucas first had this film edited. Some people came in, they switched some things up, and they made this combination of magical elements that couldn't have come together any more perfectly. It made an experience, a cinematic experience that has not really been repeated since. It was the creation of a whole new universe, a whole new world, and A New Hope gave me my favorite cinematic character of all time, and that is Luke Skywalker. I love his story. I love this movie, and I just think it's great. There are parts that do not hold up. I completely agree with that. That comes down to the nostalgia factor for me because I watched this when I was young. I will go back and watch it, and there are just so many things to love. Yes, some things are old, such as the special effects and whatnot, but you just have to love Star Wars for what it is, and I truly love it.
I don't like sand.
Number 1 on my list is obviously Empire. Now, Empire took everything that I loved about A New Hope and just kind of elevated it, and then they left you on one of the biggest cliffhangers in cinematic history, and what a choice they made to make Darth Vader Luke Skywalker's spoiler alert! Nah, just kidding, y'all know that, but what a twist that had to be at the time. I want to be in the theater seeing people's reactions to when Darth Vader said he was his father. My goodness, that had to be so cool. I can't wait to show my kid all of these movies and then get to that reveal and film his or her reaction. As a Star Wars fan, nothing gets me more excited than to show my future children, if I am so lucky to have them, Star Wars. Now, even the movies that I don't love, even the movies that I don't even really like, I'm still going to show them, and they're going to fall in love, hopefully, as much as I did. And this is what this franchise does to me. I love everything about Star Wars. It's magical. Even the movies that are super divisive, and you have these issues online, and people arguing and fighting, and whatever, I like to look past that and just see the joy that Star Wars brings. Even younger kids, the ones who don't worry about the arguing and the fighting online, the ones who just go and watch these movies and have a lot of fun. And that's what these films are. That's what Solo was. It's what Revenge of the Sith was. It's what Empire was. And that's what makes all of these Star Wars movies good or great. Except the first 3 on this list. They're a little rough. So guys, what did you think about this list? Do you hate me yet? Have I ruined your day? Have I brought joy to your hearts? Probably not the last one, but seriously, thank you so much for watching this video, for appreciating Star Wars, checking out my Solo review. Hopefully I'll have some more Star Wars videos in the near future. Let me know if you guys want those. You are the absolute best. Thank you for watching all of my videos, giving me that thumbs up, and showing your support. I will catch you later.